everyone, and welcome to Live at 4.
It's Friday. We made it.
Long last.
Yes. Oh, is your microphone not on?
It was on.
Now we got you?
It's Friday.
There we go. Better the second time
I think that's indicative of the entire
yes.
proceedings up to this point. Let's get going. Topping our news today, some severe weather moved through the area this afternoon. Strange to hear thunder in November. Gary Canalti standing by with what we should expect for the rest of the night and this weekend.
Even after a former Milwaukee elections officer illegally ordered absentee ballots, the state's top election official says you should still have confidence in whatever result should come out of the election Tuesday.
And the Powerball jackpot is at its highest in history. Find out how much money you could win tomorrow night. Let's take a look outside. Kind of a wet afternoon. And as we've mentioned, a little severe weather at a point. Wet and windy are the weather words. Gary Canalti is in the backyard where it is not raining right now.
Yeah, right now the rain has stopped here, but we've had rain off and on. Some of the rain has been heavy. We've also had some hail from some of the stronger thunderstorms, some lightning, and then the winds will really pick up as we head into tomorrow. Let's start out by taking a look at Doppler track. You can see the widespread area of showers and thunderstorms moving northeastward through much of southern Wisconsin. Areas west of Madison have seen almost continuous rain, whereas areas from Madison on toward the east and southeast have seen some breaks in between, and that's why we've seen the stronger thunderstorms in that area. 6-hour future track radar, though, shows more rain coming in from the south and west, so get set for a wet and soggy evening. As we look at alert days we have in the forecast, still have one in for tonight for moderate to heavy rainfall that could total as much as 2 inches or more across much of southern Wisconsin when all is said and done by early Saturday morning. But again, areas west of Madison probably seeing the most rain because they've already seen a fair amount of rain so far. And then the strong winds kick in for tomorrow. We could see gusts of 45 to 50 miles per hour or stronger, especially east of Madison. High wind or wind advisories are in effect for much of southern Wisconsin. High wind warnings already in effect for northeastern Wisconsin. High temperatures today before the rain, 65 in Madison, 70 in Boscobel and Lone Rock. But now you can see areas to the north and west have cooled into the 40s. Madison still close to 60, and temperatures are in the 60s over southeastern Wisconsin. In Dane County, temperatures range from 53 in Sauk City to 61 degrees in Stoughton and Edgerton. Look for showers and some thunderstorms this evening. Temperatures holding nearly steady in the middle 50s. As we check out first warn traffic, actually looking pretty good for our Friday. It's moving a little slower than normal just because of the rain, but the Beltline right now, not seeing any issues there. I-3990 southward toward Beloit or I-94 eastward toward Milwaukee. Again, no problems there, just wet roads. And then north of Madison, I-3990, 94 into the Dells and central Wisconsin, and US 151 into Beaver Dam and Dodge County. No problems there. That's your news for now. First warn traffic.
All right, Gary, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you. She was fired yesterday. Today, a former Milwaukee elections official faces criminal charges. The city says Kimberly Zapata illegally ordered absentee ballots.
But the state's top election official says that should not take away the confidence that you should have in next week's vote.
Our political reporter Will Keneally tells us why. Will?
So just today, Milwaukee Election Commission Deputy Director Kimberly Zapata was charged for falsely ordering absentee ballots through a process reserved for military voters. Those illegal ballots were caught, but not before they were sent out. And we asked the WEC Administrator Megan Wolf today why those ballots weren't caught sooner and what other steps would be in place to track such ballots down.
But I do feel confident in this particular instance that our local election officials would have identified it prior to that point or that opportunity for a ballot to be returned. But if a ballot was returned, that's another opportunity for the local election official to follow up on that information, to make any verifications that they think are appropriate.
So Wolf added these types of military ballots are incredibly rare in Wisconsin. For example, if a significant number of new military ballots are ordered, that would raise a red flag for election workers both at the city level and at the state level. So Zapata now faces 4 criminal charges, including a felony for misconduct in office. She could face up to 5 years in prison and a $13,000 fine for all 4 counts.
Well, thank you. Actor LeVar Burton stopped by a Madison restaurant today to try to help get the vote out and to support Mandela Barnes. Senator Tammy Baldwin joined Burton at Gray's Restaurant this afternoon. The Reading Rainbow star and the star of Trek and Roots is excited about receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Emmys this year, but he says what he really wants is for you to vote this Tuesday.
And it's those networks that we are going to need in a few days to go to the polls and vote, and to vote in numbers. And don't go alone. Take others with you for safety as well as for the experience, because that's where we are in America right now.
Burton also discussed how much he disliked Senator Ron Johnson for his views on race and COVID.
Well, as the hours tick down to Election Day, politicians are in full swing getting out the vote.
And some former politicians are turning up as well. Naomi Coles is here to explain.
Some of the state's best reporters and their most recognizable figures are joining tomorrow for an hour-long election special at 7 p.m. here on WISC-TV. Among them, former Governor Jim Doyle. He's weighing in on today's political environment.
You know, we live in a democracy. Democracies are big, they're loud, they're not intended to be polite. They are intended to be a time when people with very strong differing opinions bring them forward, and then we have the election and we see who wins. Never very pleasant in my
He reflects on a time when different political parties would take split results in statewide races and when truly undecided voters were far more common. All that and much more is coming up this Saturday, 7 p.m. with Eric Franke and myself.
And Governor Doyle's been out of the limelight for a while. His perspective, his historical comparison between his time in office and now, what did he have to say about that?
Yeah, so first, a little bit of a history lesson here. Jim Doyle served as a Democratic Attorney General for then, in the 1990s, Republican Tommy Thompson. Then he went on to be a Democratic Democratic governor in the early thousands. He had a Republican Attorney General. And the thing that he pointed out to me when we talked is each of those races was decided by about 20 points each, which means about 20% of the people voting were voting for both Republican Tommy Thompson and Democratic Attorney General Jim Doyle. And then vice versa, when he went on to have Republican Attorney General. It was a time when we had so many more people who were splitting ballots, and it was just, again, a very different political era.
Yeah, and once upon a time, he had the highest grossing campaign in the state. I don't imagine that that's still the case with the kind of spending we've seen in this election.
Yeah, we talked about that. He estimates maybe it's down in 6th, 7th, 8th spot now, but this is something, you know, we talked about a lot. He was reflecting on the types of ads he's seeing, and he actually doesn't believe they've gotten a lot worse now in terms of just the, you know, the meanness in the ads that we see, but there's just so much more of them. And again, we just saw this past week, this governor's race has now beat out again at $115 million spent. It's now the top spent race in Wisconsin history. We're probably going to break that record again in another 4 years.
Just the sheer volume of the ads.
Yeah.
All right, Naomi, thank you. We'll see you.
Thank you, Naomi.
Saturday 7, and for the record, 10:30.
And for the record, 10:30, both of them.
Busy.
Yes,
Thanks,
we
Naomi.
are.
Thank you, Naomi. Well, by now, you're probably sick of all of those campaign ads we were just talking about that you constantly see on television.
It's all part of a record glut of spending on the 2020 midterm.
Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Under Democrat control, massive inflation, crime-ridden neighborhoods.
Airwaves overloaded with campaign ads, a sign of a fierce election season and an expensive one.
It's like, really? Another ad for another legislative person? Really? How informative can that possibly be?
Spending on this election is projected to top $16.7 billion across federal and state races, including ballot measures, setting a new record for a midterm cycle, according to Open Secrets, a nonpartisan group that tracks the money.
It's campaign inflation.
Executive Director Sheila Krumholtz says one factor, the number of key open congressional seats up for grabs.
This cycle, we saw a huge leap in spending during the primaries.
The most expensive Senate races all top $100 million, including Georgia, Pennsylvania, Florida, Arizona, and Ohio. And that's just what the candidates spent.
We anticipate that we will trip the $2 billion mark for outside spending. That is money coming through super PACs and dark money organizations spending independently.
Issues have also attracted big dollars this midterm season, especially after the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. Planned Parenthood Votes says it's making a record investment of $50 million. On the other side, the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America PAC says its budget is $78 million. And after a series of mass shootings, the Everytown for Gun Safety Political Action Committee has raised more than $18 million, while the NRA's Victory Fund has raised around $17.7 million. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And if you don't like the ads, the good news, the election is almost over. The bad news is the election cycle is that the next one is a presidential election, which usually sees even more spending and more campaign ads on your screens. Well, there are dozens of school referendums facing voters around the state, and some are asking for help keeping the districts operational. Others asking for capital project funding. And in Wanakee, district leaders are asking for both. We told you about these referenda earlier this week. One of the 9 districts in Dane County taking their needs to the November 8th ballot. Wanakee's proposal is the most expensive at $175 million to fund the building of 2 new schools. The other is a $10 million budget referendum. Some parents feel like these are excessive.
Whatever extent we need more facilities or some budget flexibility, that these are just too large of asks, particularly as they will be paid off with the upcoming economic conditions we'll be facing.
John admitted that there are capacity problems at the middle school, but he says the growth that is expected is met with reasonable skepticism.
Well, we just can't seem to catch a break with gas prices. In Madison, you've probably noticed they shot up 40 cents in the last week. That said, GasBuddy.com's Patrick DeHaan doesn't think gas prices will stay high for long. He says an electrical fire at a major refinery in northwest Indiana caused this latest jump in prices. Nationally, gas prices have started to fall again as of yesterday. DeHaan says refinery issues are normal and politics do not play a role.
But there's no relation. Accidents and snags at refineries can happen. It's just like getting a rock in your windshield or a nail in your tire. It can happen close to the election. That doesn't mean it's a politician's fault that you got a nail in your tire. Sometimes it's just dumb luck.
DeHaan says refinery issues are more common and they cause bigger problems when they do happen because the U.S. has about half the refineries it had in the 1980s. Refineries also have issues keeping up with supply and demand, and gas prices can reflect that.
The CDC says hospitalization rates for the flu are the highest they've been in a decade. The agency says it comes amid a surge in the common respiratory virus known as RSV. Cook Children's Hospital in Fort Worth, Texas is slammed with so many cases of RSV, it activated an internal disaster code. The respiratory virus also triggered a health emergency declaration in Orange County, California. RSV is a common virus that usually causes minimal symptoms, such as a cough or a scratchy throat, but it can be severe in older adults and infants.
Tiny little airways can get plugged with the mucus that's created by the infection, and then they need assistance to breathe.
Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious disease expert at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, says parents should be alert, particularly with very young children. He and other health experts say the vaccinations against the flu and COVID are the #1 and 2 ways to protect children.
Well, the Powerball jackpot is now the largest lottery prize ever offered. The jackpot has grown to an estimated $1.6 billion for tomorrow night's drawing. That beats the last world record of $1.5 billion set by Powerball in 2016. If someone wins, they can choose to get the entire sum of money in gradual payments or a lump sum payment of over $782 million. And if someone doesn't win, I can't even imagine what it's going to be.
Are you going to buy a ticket?
Sure. Yep. Somebody's got to win it, right? How about you?
Yeah. If you don't see me Monday, you know what happened.
Why.
Well, if you've flown lately, you may have felt a bit claustrophobic.
It's not your imagination. The size of airline seats is shrinking, and now consumer groups are asking the government to do something about it. We'll have more on that when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, Live at 4.
Hi, I'm Dr. Aaron Schwab, General Surgeon at Stoughton Health. If you suffer from bothersome or painful spider veins or varicose veins, please join us for our upcoming seminar where you can learn what new procedures may be able to help you.
Americans struggling to pay their bills, yet Mandela Barnes supports a tax increase on working families. How could he? Barnes also supported hiring an army of 87,000 new IRS agents unleashed on families just like yours. That's terrifying. Mandela Barnes, higher taxes and IRS audits for you, unpaid taxes for him. Remember that on Election Day. Wisconsin Truth Bank is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand when everything's made to be broken. I just want you to know I am. I just want you to know I am.
You didn't live this strong, this long, to get put on the shelf like a porcelain doll. But 1 out of 2 women over 50 will suffer a fracture from osteoporosis. You should know you can build new bone with Evenity for postmenopausal women with osteoporosis at high risk for fracture. Ask your doctor if you can do more than just slowing down bone loss with Evenity. Want stronger bones? Then build new bone. Evenity can help in just 12 months. Evenity is proven to reduce spine fracture risk by 73%.
Evenity can increase risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a cardiovascular problem. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions and low blood calcium have occurred. Tell your doctor about jawbone problems, as they have been reported with Evenity, or about pain in your hip, groin, or thigh, as unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred.
Don't let a break put you on a shelf. Talk to your doctor about building new bone with Evenity.
I see your hard work, everything you do to try to make it. But people continue to be left behind. I'm running for Senate to put more money in your pocket. Ron Johnson's had 12 years to make things better, but costs are still rising, and all he's managed to do is write a tax cut for himself. I believe better is possible. I believe hard work can pay off, and I'll never stop fighting until it does. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
If you suffer from bothersome spider veins or painful varicose veins, please contact us at Stoughton Health to learn about what new procedures may be able to help you. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
Well, welcome back. Twitter employees have been bracing for some bad news, and today, many of them got it.
The company began mass layoffs just a week after Elon Musk took over. With offices temporarily closed, Twitter employees received the bad news at home, many of them tweeting they've been cut off from their work accounts. The layoffs come as new owner Elon Musk overhauls the company, looking to cut costs after last week's $44 billion buyout. Musk previously indicated he plans to cut at least half of Twitter's 7,500 workers.
This is like a Hunger Games contest where the few remaining staffers who at least for now are still there are trying to prove that they are worthy of Elon.
Workers filed a class action lawsuit last night saying the layoffs violate the law requiring a company to give notice before mass layoffs. As the layoffs spread, Musk was at a conference in New York where he blamed activists for a drop in Twitter's revenue. Musk accused activist groups of trying to destroy free speech, calling it an attack on the First Amendment.
A study found a single dose of a synthetic version of the mind-altering component in magic mushrooms improved depression in people with a treatment-resistant form of the disease. The randomized double-blind clinical trial compared results of a 25 milligram dose to a 10 milligram and a 1 milligram dose of a synthetic psilocybin. Researchers say they found an immediate, fast, rapid-acting sustained response to 25 milligrams. But by week 12, the positive impact on depression symptoms had waned and no longer reached a level of statistical significance. Experts found the study's findings promising, but say there are a number of issues that need further evaluation before this drug would be available for clinical use.
The latest job numbers are out. They were better than expected, but they show that hiring is slowing down. A new report from the Labor Department shows employers added 261,000 jobs in October. That's down from the average of 381,000 jobs over the previous 3 months. The unemployment rate ticked up to 3.7%.
As the economy slows down,
There are not going to be as many job openings. There's not going to be the need to fill as many jobs. And I think we're seeing some sectors actually contract, like the technology sector.
UPS plans to hire a total of 100,000 seasonal workers for the holidays. Many other companies are also bringing on new workers. Amazon and Target are hiring at roughly the same levels as the last holiday season. But Walmart, the nation's largest retailer, is only adding about a quarter of the workers that it did last year.
Stocks cap Friday, closing higher for the day but lower for the week. The Dow Industrials gained 401 points, ending the week at 32,403. The NASDAQ gained 132. The S&P 500 added 50. Well, Americans are fed up with tiny seats on airplanes.
Thousands have flooded the FAA with complaints and hopes that the government will do something to fix shrinking seats.
CNN's Pete Moontain reports from Reagan National Airport.
Luxury is what flying was supposed to be, but these days, legroom is shrinking as passengers are getting larger.
Things are definitely getting too small on planes. We're dying. And it doesn't matter what airline it is.
I can't imagine seats or aisles being smaller than they are today.
Now, the Federal Aviation Administration is considering whether to stop airlines from making seats smaller.
Evacuate, evacuate, leave everything, come this way.
The agency is under a congressional mandate to study whether seat size could slow an evacuation. But in 26,000 public comments, many focused on comfort.
The idea is that the more people you can jam into a plane, the more money you'll make.
Flyers' Rights President Paul Hudson says airlines are trying to squeeze out more profit. This week, 6 U.S. senators told the FAA to act urgently and not wait for seats to get any smaller. So I decided to put airlines to the test.
2 things necessary for this little experiment of our own: a ticket and a tape measure.
On this United Airlines flight, legroom was right at the industry standard, 30 inches. But it all depends on the airline. Legroom can get even tighter on ultra-low-cost carriers. It's tight. 27 inches is what we saw on this Allegiant Airlines flight. Flyers' Rights proposes a minimum of 32 inches legroom and seats that are wider, dimensions it says would fit 90% of Americans.
That would make a huge difference.
In its comment to the FAA, the airline industry's top lobby said it would not compromise on safety, but told the government to stay out of regulating passenger comfort. The FAA and the Department of Transportation declined our interview requests.
Their position to date has been how uncomfortable you are is between you and the air carrier.
And how comfortable you are with your neighbors.
Right, exactly.
Sitting right next to you. Many Americans will be able to see how big airline seats are over the next few weeks.
43% of us say they plan to travel for Thanksgiving.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Autumn is a popular time of the year for the running of marathon races.
But with all of those races comes a greater chance for injury. There is advice from doctors to cut down on that downtime. We'll have that story coming up after Gary's First Warn forecast.
Your family's year-round comfort is our year-round commitment at RG Heating and Air Conditioning. We install quality Trane equipment and service all brands so your home's furnace and AC will perform their best year-round. RG Heating and AC.
Radical Tim Michaels is extremely divisive.
I don't care who I offend.
And at his company, the culture comes from the top. Multiple court filings say women were sexually assaulted, harassed, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
If she refused demands for sex, she would be blackballed from working on a pipeline job.
Higher-ups dismissed the women as liars and fired those who spoke out.
I don't care who I offend.
That's how Tim Michaels runs his company. Don't let him run our state.
Hi, this is Lisa from 4 Imprint. Yes. I'd like 50 welcome wows, 300 customer I love it, and 200 team member oh yes. Certainly. You know we got some brand new woohoo!
Dial up the wow factor with promotional products from 4 Imprint. We specialize in awesome items that are certain to awe and guaranteed to deliver some ooh yes. From apparel, backpacks, drinkware to high-tech items.
Wow.
I love it. Woohoo!
Go to 4imprint.com and find some wow now. 4 Imprint, for certain. Breaking news in Dallas, Texas, where at least 5 police officers were killed when they were ambushed.
This was the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since 9/11.
Just days after this horrific crime, Mandela Barnes appeared on Vladimir Putin's propaganda news outlet and rationalized violence against American police officers.
Police officers are over-exercising their badges. This probably was a retaliatory attack.
Do you want Mandela Barnes representing you in the Senate?
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Nothing beats a great night's sleep on a new Tempur-Pedic mattress from Steinhoffels. Tempur-Pedic is designed to make aches and pains a thing of the past by relieving pressure points and supporting the body as no other mattress can. Queen Tempur-Pedic start at just $24.49. Plus, get $300 in Steinhoffels cash. You can rest easy when you take advantage of Steinhoffels special financing. Isn't it time you got a great night's sleep? Relax. It's Steinhoffels.
Think crime is bad now? Mandela Barnes would make it worse. Barnes would eliminate cash bail even after the Waukesha Christmas parade attack, supports amnesty and sanctuary cities for illegals, and had worked for a radical group that wants to defund the police. Barnes has a long record of smearing police while spending your tax dollars on security for himself. Mandela Barnes, wrong on crime, dangerous for Wisconsin. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At RG Heating and Air Conditioning, our promise to you is 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Guaranteed service, repairs, and replacements. Installing quality Trane equipment. RG Heating and AC. We'll always treat you like family. Guaranteed.
Well, take a look at this. Mother and son hippos, Bibi and Fritz, appear to pose for the cameras at the Cincinnati Zoo. The 3-month-old hippopotamus Fritz and his mom, Bibi, appeared curious as zoo visitors gathered to take their picture. The Cincinnati Zoo tweeted, Bibi and Fritz being picture perfect. Our question is, where is Fiona?
So Fritz is Fiona's brother?
Yep.
Oh,
He's
wow.
up to 300 pounds. But she apparently got aced out of the picture here.
That is such a great... It looks like they're posing for... Look at him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so priceless. That's adorable.
That never happens when I go to the zoo.
No. Yeah, right, exactly.
The animals are all the other side.
They're sleeping in the enclosure.
Boy, it was something to hear thunder like that on November 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. You know, actually, there's actually a little peak of severe weather in November because it's a changing of the seasons. So you have to expect that. But we did have a little severe weather, nothing major. But the rain will continue, and then the wind will kick in for tomorrow. Got alert days in the forecast for that. I'll have the full forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Don't you wish you could wave a magic wand and have whiter teeth? Well, you can, but it's not magic. It's power swabs. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and boom, whiter teeth and a better smile. And since you're not dealing with messy trays or awkward strips, you're less vulnerable to the harsh sensitivity they sometimes create.
I've used strips. They seem to really hurt my teeth. The power swabs, it just seemed very gentle.
It's so simple and easy. You just open it, you apply it to your teeth, you forget it's there. And I noticed that they're white and bright again like they were before.
I noticed actually a difference the first time that I used power swabs. You put on the first coat and then the activator goes on and immediately you start seeing it working.
It only takes 5-minute applications to get a brighter, whiter smile with power swabs. You just snap, swab, and smile. Power swabs have been clinically studied to whiten natural teeth and remove stains from caps, crowns, and veneers. It's so powerful, it removes stains from coffee, tea, red wine, and even smoking.
I love my coffee in the morning.
I will never stop drinking coffee. I will not be the person drinking hot coffee with a straw.
As much coffee as I drink, I can use my power swabs and eliminate the staining.
When I use the power swabs, I applied it directly to my front tooth where the coffee stain was.
I like being able to individually get the teeth, and most importantly, it got kind of in between the grooves.
You can put it directly on the stain that you see on your teeth, and it's so precise.
But as powerful as it is, it's also gentle and causes 0 to minimal sensitivity.
This didn't sting, it didn't burn, it didn't have an aftertaste. It was just a swab, and I just got to rub it around my teeth, and that was it.
Take it from me as someone who has gone the dental route, but has also gone on the shelf route, and I've not really seen anything work as effective and as easy as power swabs.
Whiten your teeth this Thanksgiving by ordering power swabs and receive 40% off the regular price. Shipping is free, plus you'll receive a free quick stick pen to use on the go after meals or a cup of coffee. Visit powerswabs.com or call the number on your screen.
As governor, I'll always try to do the right thing.
I've worked with both parties to find middle ground to improve and invest in our public schools, cut income taxes, and put our state on solid financial footing. But here's what I won't do. I won't cut public school funding. I won't be Donald Trump's puppet. And I'll never allow radical politicians to make decisions about abortion. That should be left to women and their doctors. I'm Tony Evers, and I'm asking for your vote.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Well, as promised, the rain is here. We've had some thunderstorms as well, and even a little bit of hail in the stronger storms. Alert days are in the forecast for tonight for continued rain. Some areas have picked up around an inch of rain. We could see another inch to an inch and a half through much of southern Wisconsin, so that'll total over 2 inches in many locations. And the areas west of Madison, I think, will probably end up with the heaviest rainfall totals because they've seen rain for much of the morning, whereas areas east of Madison, it's been a little more spotty. And then we have very strong winds for tomorrow. Wind advisories have been issued for much of the area. Winds could gust to 45 to 50 miles per hour. Strongest winds will probably be from Madison on toward the east, but all of southern Wisconsin will have some strong wind gusts. As far as severe weather reports, the severe thunderstorms started in northwestern Illinois and kind of tracked through the Madison area and then to the north and east. These are all hail reports. The biggest one I could find is near Columbus, about $half-sized hail there, but most of the reports were somewhere in the dime to nickel-sized range. But you can clearly see where the heavier thunderstorms track because they dumped about a ½ inch to an inch of rain where they moved on through. This is rain vision over the last 24 hours. So again, areas west of Madison saw much more concentrated areas of rain. East of Madison, just if you were underneath one of the heavier thunderstorms, these other areas probably picked up less than a ½ inch of rain, but there's more on the way. Most of the thunderstorm activity is over. There might see a few more flashes of lightning this evening, but it's steady rain with some embedded heavier rain areas in there, and this is all coming out of the southwest. So it still goes back into parts of Iowa and Missouri, so expect pretty good rain totals through this evening, and then things will wind down tomorrow. Severe weather outlook, an outside chance for a storm that could produce some hail across southern Wisconsin, but we're on the northern edge of a big severe weather outbreak that could bring some damaging tornadoes across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and into Arkansas tonight. You can see the flow of moisture from the Midwest all the way back down in Oklahoma, Texas, where the severe weather is going on, and in western Texas, that rain is changing to snow. So this is a big storm system. When you see those big temperature contrasts, that's usually when you start to see a lot of severe weather and different types of weather. 53 for the overnight low, but that'll probably be this evening with temperatures holding steady or rising overnight. Some of the rain could be locally heavy. Most of the thunderstorms, if there are any, will be this evening. Then tomorrow, some scattered showers, but very windy and turning colder. High 60 in the morning, and then those temperatures falling off in the afternoon. Now let's plan your day, starting with the rain this evening. Again, pretty widespread. Notice the difference in temperatures. 40s to the north and west of Dane County, lower 60s where the precipitation is more spotty across southeastern Wisconsin. The rain continues through 9 p.m. Midnight, another surge of moisture moving on through. And then as we head toward early tomorrow morning, we start to see the precipitation become a little more spotty. That's as a cold front starts to sweep in from the south and west. Notice the wind shift here. And as that sweeps through, the rain really starts to taper down to just some spotty showers, but it's the winds that'll pick up and those temperatures drop off. So rainfall amounts about another inch to an inch and a half through much of southern Wisconsin. That's through early on Saturday morning. But notice future track winds beginning at 6 a.m. Those winds starting to pick up to 35 miles per hour in southeastern Wisconsin. Then those winds pick up during the day, 40 to 45, maybe 50 mile per hour wind gusts. And then as we head into tomorrow night, the strongest winds shift to the north and east and things start to wind down. After that, look for a high of 59 on Sunday. Then temperatures actually a little milder than normal for the early part of next week. The thing is, notice the temperature drop toward the end of next week and into the following weekend. In fact, Friday, we could see rain showers even mixed with some flakes of snow. Those high temperatures starting in the mid-40s and then dropping into the 30s during the afternoon.
Of course, why not?
Well, again, when you see those big temperature changes, you're going to have everything from severe weather to snow, in a short period of time.
Middle of November, it's about time. All right, Gary, thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
It is fall marathon season with runners gearing up for races around the country, including the New York City Marathon this weekend.
But as runners train, there is some new advice from doctors about how to avoid injuries along the way.
CBS's Bradley Blackburn reports.
Maddie Goodman has been lacing up for marathons for years and training on the streets of New York City.
I run like mainly in Central Park.
But this year, as she trained for the Chicago Marathon, she knew something wasn't right with her hip.
I was compensating on other parts of my body on one side because I was having pain in my left hip.
Dr. Brett Torsdahl with New York's Hospital for Special Surgery treated Maddie, one of many marathoners he sees this time of year.
I see a lot of runners with hip problems, knee problems, ankle foot's definitely common.
In a recent study, he tracked hundreds of runners from the New York City Marathon and found conservative training can be key to avoiding injury.
We saw that as runners started to increase their training too quickly, it seemed that they were putting themselves at risk of injury.
He tells runners to make gradual changes during training. Some online training plans push too hard and don't make up for skipped sessions by adding extra long runs.
That's where people started to get injured, when they had a big spike in their training.
Maddie had overused the TFL muscle in her leg, but a cortisone injection helped just in time for Chicago, where she ran a 3:01, her personal best.
I was just totally speechless. I really was like, I think they tracked the wrong runner and it wasn't me.
She's now pacing herself and adding more strength training to get ready for her next race.
Just go out, have a great time, and enjoy.
And be careful how you train.
Be careful how you train, yeah.
Because it's a marathon, not a sprint. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And that study found that during marathon training, 40% of runners reported injuries.
And overly strenuous training can also make runners more vulnerable to infections.
Listen to your body.
Boy, it's so admirable, though. I'm in awe of how anybody can do that.
I can't drive 26 miles
yeah, right.
without a break.
Right, I hear you.
Coming up next year on Live at 4, we take a sneak peek at Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
And then coming up next hour at 5, how do you explain the importance of the election to people who haven't turned 18 yet? Our Tahalil Moeddin explains coming up tonight at 5.
With Pick and Save delivery, it's easy to get your special holiday foods brought right to your door. And that's music to your ears. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
A 12-year-old girl can't legally drive a car. At 12, she can't even vote. But if this little girl were tragically raped or a victim of incest and became pregnant, Radical Tim Michaels would force her to deliver the baby. He said it's, quote, not unreasonable for the state government to mandate rape victims to give birth. Would it be unreasonable if he were forcing this on you? Let him know on Election Day.
There will always be bumps in the road, but we got guts, America. We got freedom. We got power. We got future. So let's drive on and make the future we want to see together. Because your new Ford vehicle is just the start of a journey. So stop by your Ford dealer today and claim one of the thousands of new Ford trucks and SUVs on their way. We've been building this country for 119 years, but we're just getting started.
Hi, I'm Tim O'Brien, owner of The Healthy Place. I'm excited to tell you about our new Wild Theory CBD products that will get you high fives from everyone you know. Wild Theory's new groundbreaking formula has higher levels of the good stuff, and it packs surprising results. Is it legal in Wisconsin? Of course. Is it potent? You bet. Will you love it? I'm sure of it. Stop by one of our Madison locations or visit findyourhealthyplace.com. Type in high five and our website will hook you up.
Hi, this is Lisa from 4 Imprint. Yes. I'd like 50 welcome wows, 300 customer I love it, and 200 team member oh yes. Certainly. You know we got some brand new woohoos.
Dial up the wow factor with promotional products from 4 Imprint. We specialize in awesome items that are certain to awe and guaranteed to deliver some ooh yes. From apparel, backpacks, drinkware to high-tech items.
Wow.
I love it. Woohoo!
Go to 4imprint.com and find some wow now. 4 Imprint, for certain.
Keep your holidays in sync with free pickup on all your fresh favorites from Pick and Save. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
IRS agent is waiting for your call back.
When you've been scammed, when a business won't listen, when you get obstacles instead of solutions, don't give up. Call for action.
I'm News 3 Now's Leah Lynchide. Our Call for Action team is here for you, exposing scams, mediating consumer disputes, and getting results. Contact us by phone or on channel3000.com.
Call for Action, only on News 3 Now.
We're taking action for you.
Giving the weather satellite a spin, we end up in Atlanta, Georgia.
Boy, it is a beautiful evening in Atlanta, 73 degrees.
It's supposed to be on the outskirts of town.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
It's not downtown.
No, that's a nice shot, though.
Daniel Radcliffe trades in his Harry Potter spectacles for an accordion in his latest movie role as Weird Al Yankovic.
Rick Damigella talked with the real Weird Al about the upcoming movie.
I'm afraid we found your son at a polka party.
Daniel Radcliffe rocks the accordion in Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Oh, my little hungry one, hungry one, open up a package of my banana.
Dude, I've got chills.
The movie is a parody of Yankovic's life and of the recent trend of music biopics.
It was fun to do this very heightened version of reality. About the first third of the movie or so is mostly true, maybe. I mean, there was, in fact, a door-to-door accordion salesman that came around, which is why I started taking accordion lessons. But my father didn't beat him into a pulp.
There are going to be some nuggets of truth in here, but we're kind of going to throw it away and just come up with the most original, funniest, story that we could.
We got to find you a stage name. Al Yankovic. It's long. It's hard to pronounce. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Weird Al Yankovic.
Rainn Wilson steps into the top hat and tails of the man who discovered Al, radio personality Dr. Demento.
The movie has that kind of like airplane vibe, that kind of scary movie vibe, where it's sending up a whole genre of films, but it's not doing it in just a totally silly, goofy way. It's surprisingly grounded, and yet what it's dealing with is absolutely absurd.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Put it in. It's a different role for him.
We'll see what Will Loper thinks of it Monday on Live at 4.
And when we come back, we'll preview tomorrow night's episode of 48 Hours on CBS.
It is called The Snapchat Clue, and it looks at the Chandler Halderson murder case, which unfolded right here in southern Wisconsin. We'll have a preview when we come back.
Black November starts now at Ashley. For a limited time, save 55% on Beauty Rest Select Hybrid mattresses and receive a comforter, 2 pillows, and a 4-piece sheet set for free. And get 60 months special financing with no money down. Happening now only at Ashley.
As governor, I'll always try to do the right thing. I've worked with both parties to find middle ground to improve and invest in our public schools, cut income taxes, and put our state on solid financial footing. But here's what I won't do. I won't cut public school funding. I won't be Donald Trump's puppet. And I'll never allow radical politicians to make decisions about abortion. That should be left to women and their doctors. I'm Tony Evers, and I'm asking for your vote.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Who am I?
Wow, is that really me?
Hi, I'm Annette, and I'm an actress. Under-eye bags and wrinkles are so frustrating. They're so hard to hide and so hard to get rid of. I came across Plexiderm, and I was so excited. We have a model. His name is Richie, and all he's doing is taking a small amount. It's so powerful. That's all it takes. And what I love about Plexiderm is this is something that you can do in the convenience of your own home. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under-eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more." It's a cream. It's a topical. It literally creates an invisible layer that tightens the skin and smooths it out. All you do is gently rub it underneath your eyes, on your fine lines and wrinkles, and it visibly disappears in as little as 10 minutes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
I can't even believe that this worked. I was a little skeptical
skeptical, I am not going to lie, because I saw people online with it. I'm like, yeah, right, that can't possibly work. I'm telling you, it really works.
I thought I might see a little difference, but to see that big of a difference, I have so many dark circles, I have the puffiness, I have the lines, like, it's amazing.
You have an event, you have any of those moments where you want to feel the best about yourself, I am telling you, the videos that you see on social media and TV are real.
This Thanksgiving is the best time to try Plexiderm with our starter price of only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Black November starts now at Ashley. For a limited time, take a bonus 20% off your purchase of $19.99 or more at checkout. Plus, get 60 months special financing, no minimum and no money down. Happening now only at Ashley.
As we check first warrant traffic, there was an accident on the eastbound Beltline just past Whitney Way between Whitney Way and Verona Road, but that looks like it's been cleared up. Right now, Beltline looking in pretty good shape, as well as I-39, 90, 94 on the east side of Madison. Right now, about a 16 to 18-minute trip either way on the Beltline between University Avenue and the interstate, mainly because of wet roads. No problems heading out of Madison down towards Janesville or towards Sauk City on US 12. That's your News 3 Now first warrant traffic.
All right, Gary, thank you. An extremely rare first edition copy of the U.S. Constitution is going up for auction next month. Sotheby's says it's expected bids of up to $30 million for the document. Produced ahead of the Constitutional Convention in 1787, Sotheby's says only 13 of the original printed texts are known to exist. Last year, another privately held copy sold for $43.2 million, sold to billionaire hedge fund manager Ken Griffith, who has loaned the document to an art museum in Arkansas. Oh, when Bart and Krista Halderson disappeared on July of 2021, it stunned Windsor and all of southern Wisconsin.
48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty investigates how a clue on the social media app Snapchat would lead to a gruesome discovery.
This is doorbell camera footage of 23-year-old Chandler Halderson going house to house, asking if anyone had seen or heard from his parents.
Kind of difficult to track him down.
Chandler told police his mom and dad, Bart and Krista, had gone to the family cabin in northern Wisconsin for the July 4th holiday weekend and never returned. Sheriff's detectives Brian Shunk and Sabrina Sims visited the Halderson home.
So when you first got there, who was home?
It was just Chandler.
Chandler was a college student telling friends he had landed a job with Elon Musk's company, SpaceX.
We're walking around the house with him. He's pointing out things at the house, things that were missing that his parents took when they traveled to the cabin.
Deputies headed to the family cabin, a 3-hour drive north.
Sheriff's office, anybody inside? Announce your presence, make yourselves known.
But there were no signs of Krista and Bart. And then detectives got a break. Turns out that Chandler's girlfriend had been tracking her boyfriend's location on the social media app Snapchat during the time his parents were missing. And she spotted Chandler, whom she called hubby, at a remote location near the Wisconsin River.
It's a huge piece of evidence that we had found.
You can catch 48 Hours tomorrow night right here on Channel 3.
It starts at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Right.
Well, don't forget to fall back this weekend. Daylight saving time ends Sunday.
So turn your clocks back an hour at 2 a.m. or before you go to bed. The time change can sometimes throw off your sleep. Mandy Gaither has more on how not to lose those Z's.
If shifting your clock has you reaching for another cup of joe in the morning, you're not alone.
When you lose an hour or gain an hour, you're playing with your body's clock overall, and this can cause a lot of different consequences.
Neurologist Mari Horvat with Cleveland Clinic's Sleep Disorder Center says it's easier to see the struggle to the time change in spring, but falling back can be hard on your body as well. That's why she says it's important to make some changes now. Gradually shift your internal clock by adjusting sleep and wake times by 15 or 20 minutes a day.
It might seem like it's a small change. It might seem like, gosh, I get this extra time to sleep in, but it really can have detrimental effects, and especially on our mood overall.
Horvat says limiting caffeine and alcohol before bed can help too. Exercise and sun exposure can also allow your body to be sleepy at the right time.
We're asking our bodies to make this change that we're not giving the right input for, right? When it's light outside, we should be awake. When it's dark, we should be going to sleep. We're going against what our body's fundamentally built for. So it's normal that this can be a difficult thing for people.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All right, we'll be right back with a final check of your forecast.
I see your hard work, everything you do to try to make it, but people continue to be left behind. I'm running for Senate to put more money in your pocket. Ron Johnson's had 12 years to make things better, but costs are still rising, and all he's managed to do is write a tax cut for himself. I believe better is possible. I believe hard work can pay off, and I'll never stop fighting until it does. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
Planning a remodel? Don't toss your cabinets, furniture, and appliances. Donate to Habitat Restore. Your items stay out of landfills while proceeds create housing solutions for hardworking families. Build a stronger community with Habitat Restore of Dane County.
Over 800 convicted criminals released. 270 murderers and attempted murderers released. 44 child rapists released. Tony Evers' parole commission has released hundreds of violent criminals early, including some of the worst killers in Wisconsin history. Evers' liberal policies are making our communities less safe. Tony Evers put criminals first and our family's safety last.
For Clinton Anderson, our community is his top priority. He's delivered for middle-class families on the Beloit City Council, and he'll keep fighting to lower costs for us in the Assembly. Jeff Klett's priorities are all wrong. He supports dismantling our public schools, wants to slash community services to give tax breaks to his billionaire backers, and he'll vote with extreme Republicans to enforce Wisconsin's abortion ban, which could send doctors to prison. We can't afford Jeff Klett.
It all comes down to the final drive. News 3 Now brings you the big play highlights and scores from Southern Wisconsin high school football action. Don't miss the final drive, Fridays on News 3 Now at 10. Before you cast your vote on Tuesday, log on to channel3000.com for comprehensive information on voting, candidate reality checks, and what's on the ballot. Get the facts and information you need before you head to the polls. News 3 Now, your election headquarters.
Kind of a narrow line of showers and thunderstorms around Stoughton toward Orfordville, just west of Janesville, moving to the east-northeast. That could bring some gusty winds, but much of southern Wisconsin will continue to see rain and a few thunderstorms this evening. 6-hour future track radar shows more rain through the overnight hours. We'll be right back.
Black November starts now at Ashley. For a limited time, save 55% on Beauty Rest Select Hybrid mattresses and receive a comforter, 2 pillows, and a 4-piece sheet set for free. And get 60 months special financing with no money down. Happening now only at Ashley.
A 12-year-old girl can't legally drive a car. At 12, she can't even vote. But if this little girl were tragically raped or a victim of incest and became pregnant, radical Tim Michaels would force her to deliver the baby. He said it's, quote, not unreasonable for the state government to mandate rape victims to give birth. Would it be unreasonable if he were forcing this on you? Let him know on Election Day.
Americans struggling to pay their bills, yet Mandela Barnes supports a tax increase on working families. How could he? Barnes also supported hiring an army of 87,000 new IRS agents unleashed on families just like yours. That's terrifying. Mandela Barnes, higher taxes and IRS audits for you, unpaid taxes for him. Remember that on Election Day. Wisconsin Truth Bank is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Aren't you tired of the division and the anger? I know I sure am. Our country faces enormous challenges. I promise I'll do everything I can to help make things better, and I'll always tell you the truth. What continues to give me hope are the kind and decent people I meet all over Wisconsin. People who love America and are willing to work hard to unify and heal it. Please join us. I'm Ron Johnson, I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
Think crime is bad now? Mandela Barnes would make it worse. Barnes would eliminate cash bail even after the Waukesha Christmas parade attack, supports amnesty and sanctuary cities for illegals, and had worked for a radical group that wants to defund the police. Barnes has a long record of smearing police while spending your tax dollars on security for himself. Mandela Barnes, wrong on crime, dangerous for Wisconsin. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Black November starts now at Ashley. For a limited time, take a bonus 20% off your purchase of $19.99 or more at checkout. Plus, get 60 months special financing, no minimum and no money down. Happening now only at Ashley.
Well, now that Halloween is behind us, is it time to start thinking about Christmas? Well, I know.
That's just one of the stories Louie and Oliver have in this week's edition of the News Hounds.
Here's the News Hounds, Louie and Oliver, with their World News Roundup.
This week on the News Hounds, it's not another walk in the park.
A pumpkin-haired baby.
And a feast fit for Fido.
But first, you don't usually see a camel, sheep, and a donkey walking together down Fifth Avenue in New York, but they did this week. They're part of the live nativity scene in Radio City Music Hall's Christmas Spectacular. Part of the tradition is blessing the animals. That duty fell to His Eminence, Cardinal Timothy Dolan. The live nativity scene has been part of the spectacular since the show began in 1933. It opens November 18th.
A walk in this park in Ecuador can be a challenge. Large land iguanas have made the park their home. Tourists come from near and far to watch the large lizards climb trees and even allows the brave ones to pet them. Known locally as Iguana Park, the resident lizards are now semi-domesticated creatures who enjoy the free food. Tourists come bearing seeds, bananas, lettuce, and bread for the creatures who beg for food and attention. Smart iguanas.
We want you to meet Rhubarb, the newest resident of the St. Louis Zoo. The 1-month-old Francois Langer was born to Mom Dolly and Dad Desh on September 30th. Rhubarb is the first Francois Langer ever born at this zoo, so it's an exciting time. And yes, that is the real color of her hair, bright orange, but after about 6 months, she'll transition to the less conspicuous adult coloring, which is mostly black. This species is on the endangered species list and native to the tropical forests of Southeast Asia. They're related to monkeys and are tree-dwelling creatures that usually live in family groups.
Finally, San Francisco is a foodie city with more than 50 Michelin star restaurants, and San Francisco loves dogs, so it should come as no surprise that a San Francisco entrepreneur has decided to open the first fine dining tasting menu restaurant exclusively for man's best friend. Dog is the name of the place, and for $75 per pup, doggy diners get a multiple-course Bon Appetit meal featuring dishes like chicken skin waffles, filet mignon steak tartare with quail eggs. It also includes a mimosa and a treat for the pup's person. Classically trained chef who opened Dog says he wanted to raise awareness about feeding your dog fresh, healthy, natural ingredients, and he consulted with a veterinarian to ensure all of the meals are safe and contribute to a balanced diet. Everything is human-grade food, although if you took a bite, the chef says you'd probably find the doggy dishes to be a bit bland. Anyway, please pass the dog food.
And that's this week's edition of the News Hounds Now Update.
Louie and Oliver, $75 a piece. Don't get any eggs.
Maybe a road trip for a special occasion.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here Monday. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.